Can someone confirm that you're able to hear me properly? Can someone, hello, am I audible?
Sir, yes, sir, you are.
All right, thank you so much.
Um,
All right, guys, now the reason I'm conducting this session today is because now we are reaching a very critical time whereby we all have to be on the toes. The reason I say that is that we will be getting information on the opening of the visa slots. Now, we are not just seeking this from the official sources, that is the US Embassy. We keep our ears open of any talk anywhere, any chatter, any place. And the moment we hear that the chatter is becoming louder, there's a very good chance that it's a true news, then we will be immediately broadcasting it to you. For example, yesterday, there was a strong sense in the social media that the US Embassy is going to open the slots for the visas. And that is the reason we immediately reacted to it and we send you all the messages. Eventually, that did not prove to be true. There are going to be therefore times of that nature where we will be sending you a broadcast, we'll be broadcasting a message on this opening of visa slot. And eventually it might not actually be true, but we should not play defensive. You should give us the benefit of doubt in sending you that information, because for all we know, uh, one of the such news might be a true news, because once the slots open, they will get over very, very fast. Do remember the last communication, official communication that we have got from the US Embassy talks about visa slots for the August period, which is a bit of a disappointment, because if August slots are what they are trying to open, my query to myself and to probably the US Embassy is what happened to the June slot? What happened to the July slot? So the bottom line is this, that if the August slots is what they're opening, then that's the last slot, because after that, you don't get a fall visa. So there's a very good chance that they open the August slot and after that, nothing else happens, which means that you might have to postpone your travel plans for the January. Now, let's hope that the US consulate person who mentioned about August slot was just playing with us. Let's also hope the fact, therefore, that the slots, earliest slots will also open. But at the same time, let's be prepared for the worst case scenario whereby the slots are opening for the month of August. And the moment they open, we take benefit of it. So once again, to repeat myself, as and when we get to hear a chatter, we will be broadcasting to you about the possibility of opening of the visa slots. Please see to it that you are ready, so that as and when the visa slots open, you are immediately booking yourself a date. If you already have a college of your choice, then try to book as early a date you can. Don't wait during that time for you to get in touch with me to ask me that Hyderabad is not there. Can I open it up in, can I take up in Delhi, etc. Yes, you should prefer Hyderabad from the past experiences that we have had, but that does not mean that you hold, because for all you know, if you were to hold, other places also will get closed. So search for Hyderabad, search for Calcutta. If it doesn't happen, search for Chennai. If that doesn't happen, Delhi. If that doesn't happen, Mumbai. All right, but block it. The reason I again repeat that is, just give me a minute. The reason I repeat that is because, as I said, we are now reached a critical phase where we needed to panic a little bit. A month or two back, I was telling kids who had got the admission, you don't need to panic. Things will open up. We still have time. And I was recommending them not to rush to a agent for the visa slot. Now I'm revising my recommendation. Now my recommendation is please do rely on an agent. The reason is we don't know at what time, on what date the visa slots will be open. It could be open late in the night. And once they open, it's like Tatkal, railway Tatkal, they will get closed very, very fast. Now, having said that, do understand I'm talking about the bulk visa slots. Now, there are odd slots which are opening here and there. So when such a odd slots open, you can actually book yourself a slot. Few of the students already have it. I know of at least 2 kids who have it this month itself. Therefore, what is important is you continuously be in watch and get yourself that. Now, that was as far as the visa slots were concerned, but there are a lot of queries that I have been asked in the last month since I have had the interaction with you people. I will be continuing to have this interaction as we go forward and a little more frequently, because now we need to start preparing for the visa interviews and yes, other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking questions. Let's have this as more as an interaction where I'm not giving you a lecture, but I'm giving you some platform for you to raise queries that you might have, which might also benefit other students because the type of doubts you are going to have is going to be very similar. So do see to it that you are penning your doubts in the chat section and I will take it up for discussion. Meanwhile, there are already a few questions that people have asked. Let me take them up while I wait for any queries that you might have to be listed out in the message session of this platform. Question number one people have asked me is about the fees. Now, please do make it a point to watch my previous online session. It's a very important session where I have actually taken a real I-20 and then done a computation to talk about how you will get an idea of what is going to be your true expense. So you have to make it a point to see that and understand that. The reason is very simple. Please see to it that the number value that comes is something that you can actually afford. When I say afford, I'm not saying on your own. It could be with the education loan, but that is something that you should be comfortable with. What you should not be doing is going to the country with a limited amount of budget and then being tensed about the fact that, look, if I don't get a part-time job, if I don't get scholarships, then I will not be able to complete, my academics will suffer, and I could be deported. Now, that is not the pressure that, believe me, you will need to live with. When you are there as a student, a part-time job is something which I'll strongly encourage you to take. Scholarship and assistantship is something that I would strongly encourage you to fight for. But don't go with an assumption that that will fall on your lap. It's not going to be easy because every student is going to compete. Now that gets compounded if you are going to a college where majority of them are from India, because then the competition to that extent gets accentuated for a simple reason. No college is going to give a huge budget for one nationality or one community. Therefore, be aware of that. Second thing that you need to understand is if a college has already declared a scholarship for you. Now, there are quite a few kids who have got scholarship across various colleges, including University of Houston, Yeshiva University, and partial scholarship as well. There, you can take that for granted because that's a commitment that has already been made by the college. Now, when the college makes such a commitment, they stick to it. However, it's a conditional commitment. What is the condition normally put in? The normal condition that is put in is that each of the semester, you need to have a GPA of 3. All right. Now, GPA of 3 is not much of a challenge, but it's still something that you will have to fight for. So if a commitment has been made by a college that I'm going to give you $500 or $5,000 each semester, first semester you get it, but second semester you have to earn it. So that is something that you need to understand. Now, what happens if no scholarship has been provided to you? If no scholarship has been provided to you, there are two scenarios that you can look at. One are those colleges which are very popular. When I say popular, they receive a lot of applications. Now, in their cases, what happens is if the college is very good and your profile is at the bottom, it's not at the top, then obviously they would have given the scholarships to those people whose profiles are on the top, whereby you probably don't have the scholarship, but you still might think of considering that college without a scholarship if the college is the right college for you. All right. Now, however, when it comes to the low end colleges, one of the things why I tell students don't rush to pay the deposit or to accept the college is because sometimes by dragging our foot, we can get a bit of scholarship. All right. However, do appreciate that also depends on your profile, because your profile for that college should be a high-end profile. So we have had cases where a college has not given scholarship initially, and we dragged when the colleges get in touch with us and ask us what happened to your student, why we say, look, the student has other options he's considering. And then sometimes the colleges do come and say, all right, we have reconsidered his profile. We are willing to give a scholarship of $2,000, $5,000. But remember, that is only possible if the college that has given you admission but no scholarship is something which considers your profile as a little more desirable profile. Okay, so that in case therefore you do have a doubt, you can ping me in WhatsApp, but do appreciate the probability of that happening this year is very, very less, because this year every college, you name the college, every college, the number of applications has jumped. I give you colleges like UNBC, where getting an admission was a challenge, but not a huge challenge. This year, it has been amazingly challenging. I can give you examples of colleges like University of Illinois, Springfield. I can give you examples of FAU, Florida Atlantic University, colleges which we would have, University of New Haven, colleges which we would have normally considered to be safe or a bit in the borderline with the moderate. We have seen huge rejections happening, especially in the area of computer science and data science. Okay, and in fact, even in information systems, we have seen rejections happening. So the point, therefore, you need to understand is scholarship, if at all they give, is something that is desirable, but not something that, given this situation of a competition where the demand is more and the supply is less, we will have the flexibility. But having said that, you really cannot dilly-dally now too much. You have to start choosing the colleges and then moving forward, because as I said, if the visas do not open, we really don't know what will be the scenario like. The questions have also been asked about what about assistantship. The reality is, if you do have a good speaking skill score, you have good research paper, I would have encouraged, and students have done that, you can get in touch with few of the faculty members and make a case for research assistantship, make a case for teaching assistantship. Will that mean it will get translated? Will that mean that you will actually make it? Answer is, just give me a minute. I'm sweating and I'm looking for my AC remote. And I'm failing to get it. All right. So will that mean that when you write to them, they will give you TARA? Not necessarily, but will that mean that they will at least consider it? Answer is yes to that. All right. So nothing wrong, but be sure that you have the right GPA, right profile to write to them, ask for it, because if you don't, then it's a sheer waste of time. Similarly, there are a lot of scholarships which are of national importance. When you start looking, it's nice to have a feeling that probably we should apply for it, but you will realize the fact that when you're applying for it, they ask for a huge number of essays. Put that effort only if you believe that profile is competitive enough. All right. Otherwise, I would rather have you start preparing for your first semester syllabus of your master's, rather than wasting in doing something which is not going to add any value to you, because the chance of conversion is pathetically low. Second very important question people have asked is about accommodation. Accommodation cannot be delayed too much. Do remember, early booking of accommodation improves your chances of getting a right place and at a right price. Now, as you go forward, accommodation becomes all the more tighter. Now the question comes, how do I book the accommodation if uh, how do I book the accommodation if I don't even know whether I'll get visa or not? Should I wait till I get the visa? Similarly, a question has been asked to me that should I book the visa, flight tickets now itself? The answer is very simple. There is a loss element, there is a benefit element. To answer that, first, accommodation, yes, book it. Now, once you're sure this is the college that you will go to, what I would suggest is let us also know so that we will see other students who are going to the same set of colleges. You could then discuss and decide that you want to group up and then look for an accommodation, book the accommodation. But it's very essential that you book after reading the terms and condition. And one of the very important term of condition is if your visa is rejected and that is the reason why you're not able to come to the country and therefore benefit from the accommodation, the deposit that you will pay would be 100% refunded. Now, this term is very essential. Now, this is where majority of you people will screw up, and believe me, you will screw up. So my request and suggestion is very simple. Please don't do it on your own. Get in touch with our office. Our office will be supervising that so that such a screw up does not happen. Because quite often, I tell this many times, but quite often what happens is people come back after the screw up. Terms and conditions, you have to have the patience to read the terms and conditions, because a small, it's not a joke to lose $1,000 or $2,000. Already you are hurt having got your visa rejected, and then you are additionally finding that there's other additional cost involved. That's stupidity. So for accommodation, in case any doubt, please get in touch with the Condura team. They will be guiding you because we know what clauses to look at. The second thing is when it comes to the flight ticket. Now, the beauty of the flight ticket is it's not very tough for you to do on your own. All right. Accommodation is not very easy. So yes, we will step in, we will help you. Flight ticket, you have so many channels to do so. So please go ahead, book it. But if you are booking it, what is the one condition I want you to have? Look, please see what is the amount of money you will lose if you are canceling it. My read right now is saving that you will have by blocking the date now is going to be more than the loss you will have, all right, by canceling it. The risk, the chance of the cancellation, though real, is in my view still low, especially if you have a decent profile and you're going to a decent college. So if you were to book it, then you obviously tend to save much more. Now, which day will you book it? The answer is very simple. You need to look at your I-20 and then see to it that you're booking it. You are there at least 2 weeks before the start of the program. If not 2 weeks, 10 days. It is essential that you go a bit early, get acclimatized to it, and going a little early will help you also target the part-time jobs, etc., before the real crowd walks in. All right, but do remember this US rule: you cannot, set your foot inside the US soil before 1 month of the start of the program. So that is a date that you can see from your visa, from your I-20. Now, all this is fine for a person whose college of the choice has been got. But many of you I know are still waiting. In that case, what should you do? In that case, you can still make an assumption. If you are sure that, all right, if I don't get that college, I'm going ahead with this. If I get that college, I'm going with that. In that case, don't book your accommodation because accommodation will change. Don't book your flight ticket because flight ticket location will also change. Yes, there could be a little delay in both the processes, but then when you're waiting for something, there's no reason why you take this additional risk as well. But at the same time, please make it a point to discuss, because I know of a kid who is waiting for a college which I know will reject him anyway. I'm also in love with Aishwarya Rai. I'm in love with Madhuri Dixit. I love them in every way I can. But sweetheart, I also understand that it's not realistic for me to assume the fact that they love me back. So as long as the college you're waiting for is realistic, it makes sense. And yes, the probability might be low, but it has to have some probability. If the probability is zilch, you're an idiot to wait for it because you're only incurring additional cost for that. That was the element number 2, which I want to discuss. LKS, were there any other questions, Ma? Meanwhile, I do have a question from Sampath. He says, is it required to submit DS 160 from GMU before the booking of slot because UMass Ernst has emailed us the results of admission? DS 160 LKS? Give me a minute, please.
Yes, sir. I'm very sorry. Yes, sir.
Can you address this issue, the doubt that has been asked by Sampath, please? The query is it required to submit the DS 160 from GMU before booking of a slot? Guys, LKS is a James Bond when it comes to the visa process, all right? So I'm going to be relying on her advice rather than coming out with an advice. Yes, LKS.
Yes, sir. While booking the visa slot, we need not require DS 160 form. While booking the visa slot, we will be using CGI portal where the visa payment will be done. There, we have to use the application ID number and proceed with the visa slot booking.
LKS, have we not sent the kids the process note on the same?
We have sent the process, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sampath, the fact is DS 160 will be submitted. Once you submit the DS 160, then you can't change the college. So submission. Sorry.
I'm sorry, sir. Here, I believe this is being pushed through the agents, I believe, sir.
Okay, agents are insisting on the DS 160 to be submitted.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Sampath, do not submit the DS 160 unless until the college is finalized. You don't need the DS 160 to be submitted for the booking of the visa slot. Now, what we normally do is we recommend the DS 160 to be submitted only after you are sure that the college is the right college, or a couple of days before your visa interview or the biometric interview for that matter. So the point is, do not, all right? You don't, especially when you're waiting for something which you desire. And there's no, even in this case, even if it's a little ambitious, there's no harm in not submitting. So I don't see any reason why we need to rush through that. Not required. LKS, what are the other common queries that kids have been asking you?
Yes, sir. I think we've addressed this accommodation related thing, sir.
Yeah, I have done that.
And the next was how to calculate the visa funds basis on their I-20.
Okay, thank you so much. All right,
Yeah.
here I have a very important point to be made. Be very careful with the document you are submitting for getting I-20. I had a case of a student who has got admission to a college, and he had sent me a document which talked about 4 crore of money in the bank. Now, it's a good news to have so much money in the bank. But the point that you need to understand is it's essential that that amount that you are showing during I-20 does not change too much from the visa, especially the big amounts. Why? Now, let us say the bank is asking me for 400, the college is asking me to show an amount of $40,000. Now, it so happens that I want to show, I have someone or whatever, and I show an amount of $100,000. Now, once you get I-20, you will notice the fact that on the left-hand side, it will be clearly mentioned that the requirement is $40,000. On the right-hand side, it would have been mentioned that from family, $100,000. So in I-20, that $100,000 will be captured. Now, on the day of your visa, you are going in, you are showing that I-20, they will be able to see that huge figure appearing there. Now, is that a good news or a bad news? It depends. If that $100,000 is actually yours and you believe the fact that even on the date of the visa, you will be able to show, if not $100,000, something around that, and you are not going to take an education loan. Because if you had shown $100,000 and in I-20 it writes that you have told the college that you have $100,000, then obviously the visa officer would think that why are you taking for education loan? So it will be a bloody conflict. So my strong recommendation is this. Please see to it that you are showing what is required unless and until you have something substantial which you will be able to prove as yours even on the day of visa. So what is the right recommendation for most of the people? Let us say a college asks $40,000. Probably you can get a document which says you have $45,000 or even $50,000 or INR equivalent. Then what will happen is that you submit it. Please appreciate this document might be from your uncle's bank account. This might be your neighbor's bank account or anyone, but willing to tell the college that they are going to support you. Once you get the I-20, when you are going for the visa, should it be what you showed the college for I-20? Answer is no. Though it will be written in the bank in the I-20 that from family 40,000. Once that I-20 comes into picture, later when you go for the visa, you could probably take $30,000 from the loan and you have $10,000. It is okay. The reason why this will not matter to the VOs is because they also know that this is a very chicken and egg problem. All right. So they're aware of it. They are after all sitting in India. So they understand the Indian environment. However, to give a document which claims $100,000 and then you are taking an education loan, this is something that will raise a red flag. So be very careful about this. This is point number one. Point number two, for people who have not got admission in the college of choice, do not wait for the financial document. Please go ahead and get the bloody financial document. The reason I say that is, if you are waiting for the college of the choice, and even if that college of the choice gives you the admission, and then you start the process, you are losing out critical 3 to 4 days. And do remember, once the financial document comes, after that, there's another 2 to 3 weeks for waiting for I-20. And then you don't have the time to block the visa slot. So one I-20 should be in your hand, SHOULD, all in capital. So like I did mention in the previous class, if you have admission and the college is demanding, it might not be the college of your choice, but it's demanding up till $500 deposit, throw the bloody $500, get the I-20, book the visa slot and save on the flight ticket. And do remember, 2 days before the visa interview, you can change the college. So it gives you sufficient time to wait for the college of your choice to give the declared results. At the same time, you have also blocked the visa slot. All right. And believe me, getting the visa slot is going to be the most dangerous. This year is a crazy year while people are anticipating the possibility of Trump presidency coming in, because if Trump were to become the president, we do not know how things will meet out as far as going to the US is concerned. So people are trying to enter the US before President Trump becomes once again the president, if at all. So the competition is high for admission, competition is high for accommodation, competition is high for flight tickets are going to become expensive. So, and more importantly, it's going to be much more tougher for getting a visa slot. So do not think in series. Believe me, after everything, if you don't get the visa slot, the heart, ask the kids who did not get it during the spring season, and spring season was a nightmare, all right? Because US embassy did not open the slots in November and December. So be appreciative of the challenges in front of you. All right, any other questions you might have, my dear? If you do put it on this, I do have one more point which I'm going to be talking about, something which I did mention in the previous class, but it's important that I repeat it because this is the critical time for you. Please choose the college carefully. The reason I say that is your sole focus should be on getting yourself a job. Everything else is bullshit. Whichever college you go to, the learning that you are going to have is going to be more defined by the internships that you're going to do. Networking that you're going to develop is going to be a function of the internship that you're going to do. So give weightage to the location. Yes, don't give too much weightage for the fees. If you get a good college, which is a little expensive, go for it. But having said that, please don't go beyond your budget, but don't keep an artificial ceiling on the budget too. Because this is going to be your last degree and the last experience you're going to have. Second, please see to it that you are taking a college where you can do well. Sometimes I know of kids who have been able to get into IITs and have not been able to manage the pressure in IITs. It is important that in whichever school you go, you need to be in the top 20% of the class. So if it feels good, I want to tell everyone, I'm from IIT, I'm from Berkeley, I'm from Southern California. But what is the fun in you finally saying that, but I was not able to graduate or I got a GPA of 2.7? Sweetheart, it is important that you be in the top 20% of the class. That is more important than being in a top college and struggling there. And that's a very important element I talk about because there's always the lure of going to a top school. Third thing, when it comes to the visa, there is something that one of the ladies did mention about, which I need to find out because again, US Embassy is a thing I've written to them. The drop box facility probably will not be carried on for the fall. So if you happen to have B1 or B2 visa, you still have to now start attending the face-to-face interviews and the drop box facility has been withdrawn. Now, this is something one of our kids who has B1, B2 visa while booking the visa slot, was told. Now we are trying to authenticate this information, but if that is the case, then for all of you who do have B1, B2 visa, be appreciative of the fact that the challenges just increase a bit more. But it's a challenge that others are able to face, so you will be able to face. So don't worry unduly about it. So these essential elements you need to do. The next many months, please now start focusing on building the right skills for you to do well during the first semester of the masters. Because if your first semester goes well, subsequently everything is going to be beautiful. I believe you would have got a message from one of my girls, Neha by name. She went on in this fall of 23. First, of course, she pings me up sometime back around Pongal time and says, I got a part-time job. And now she has pinged up saying that I got 2 internships. And I have made it upon this send to all of you guys. All right, you should have received it by now in the message. But why am I doing so? Sweetheart, one of the very important things that you need to understand is economy is not down. Stock markets are in record high. In the name of recession, we seem to be not acknowledging the problem. Every company is doing phenomenally well in profitability. The point that you need to understand is technology disruption has taken place. So technology has come in and removed the low-end jobs. This is not the first time it has happened. It has happened so many times over the centuries. Once upon a time, people used to build ships. Titanic was built. And then aeroplanes came, all the companies which were in shipbuilding bloody folded. So it happens. So today what is happening is very simple. Technology has shifted whereby low-end jobs, technology says, I will do it. So what is now there is high-end jobs which will make the technology, which will take away the low-end jobs. So instead of being a part of the low-end jobs, bloody be a part of a high-end job. High-end job means that you have to be technically more aware. You need to get yourself a good internship opportunities. Your personality should be good enough because as you go high order, obviously you need to interact with the clients. You need to interact with top management. So invest in improving your English, reducing your shyness, learn a little bit about Western culture, including the use of knife and fork. See to it that you are immersing yourself in trying to finish a few elements of the first semester syllabus so that first semester the stress is not there. That is what you need to do over the next couple of months. All right. Now, to answer one more question, what if you have a job? Should we be planning abroad? As far as the US is concerned, the reality is across the board, US is tightening the screw. And the pace with which the tightening will happen is going to be substantially increased if President Trump becomes the president for the another time. So if you are confident about the fact that the job you get is a good job, a learning oriented job, growth oriented job, at least for 3.5 years. All right. Why am I saying 3.5 years? Because after that, Trump has, even if Trump were to become the president, he has to leave. And let's hope the fact that the next person is going to be a little more balanced, because we have always seen, people of this kind to come, following them are people who, because he's going to screw the economy. He's actually very good for the economy, but he's going to screw the world order. So the point I'm trying to therefore make is this, sweetheart. You might not be able to go to the US over the next many years, and you should be okay with that. Otherwise, bloody go upskill yourself, because this is the time. Demand for AI professionals and technology professionals is high. Supply is not there. That is the point that you need to understand. And what is the proof for that? Sweetheart, the fact that President Biden and the US government is coming out with a bill which is giving you special H-1B visa and green card for people who are practitioners of AI is a show. It's an evidence about the fact that demand is there, supply is not there. 3 years from now, demand will continue to be there, but supply will also be there. So it's better for you to bloody go and upskill right now. But without that upskilling, it's not going to be useful. So that you need to bear in mind. All right, I have a question, Pradeep. I'm still waiting for a decision from FSU, SJSU, and UNT. Should I pay the yeshiva or UMass Dartmouth? Point that you need to understand, Pradeep, is that forget about all that. You have a decent chance of making it into these colleges, but you need an I-20 in your hand. So my suggestion is look at yeshiva, you look at UMass Dartmouth, and find out, is there any how much is the deposit? Not all the colleges have deposit, remember. If a colleges don't have deposit, then bloody immediately apply for I-20. If the colleges do, but when you are applying for I-20 and you're getting a financial statement, please get the financial statement which covers the maximum of the desired college and the college in hand. For example, the college in hand, let's say Yeshiva says that you have to show me 40,000, but you are you need UNT which says 45,000. Then get the document for 45,000 so that the same document can be given later to UNT if you do get admission in that process. So that smartness is something that you need to have. All right, but get the I-20. Why am I saying get the I-20? Because one I-20 will allow you to block the visa slot. And that will also give you sufficient time for you to wait for the other colleges. Having said that, if the deposit being asked is $2,000, because there are some colleges which are asking so much, then I would say you have to wait. $2,000 is not an amount I'm going to have the guts to even recommend you to hold on. So then I would say then wait. But till $500, I think you should give it. Okay, any other queries you have, sweethearts, or we will stop here. As I said, please make it a point to watch my previous online class, because I have gone through detailing in that. Going forward, I will be conducting sessions where I will talk about the visas, or I will be conducting mock visa interviews for you people to one-to-one as well. We need to be ready for all that shit. Okay. At the end of the day, as I keep saying, going abroad is easy. It's living abroad, that stuff. But if you're ready, believe me, you will love it. All right. And that is an experience that we need to fight for. I do have one more question. Right now, I've heard a lot about visa slots opening. So should we wait for another 3-5 days? And then sweetheart, Sunil, sweetheart, in the quest for 3-4 days, let's not lose out, because as I said, even if they open, we are not very sure whether they will open at the time that is convenient for you. And the worst part is, all right, and I think the whole British structure is developed by the US Embassy for the agents. The worst part is you cannot do multiple tries, because if you do multiple tries, then it will lock itself off. And then if it locks itself off, and that's a substantial period we are talking about, it's not a good news. So I would suggest now we have reached a critical phase of tension phase, and I think you should go to the agent now. All right. Also, while asking agent to book the slot, which month should I better? Is it June, as I heard, audit? Which month earlier the better? But be very sure that the date you fix is sufficient for you to hear from the college that you're waiting to hear from. For example, let us say I have decided on my college. If you've decided on the college, please book the slot for April early if you can. Remember, there are kids from Kondira who are attending the visa interview and they've already got the slot for March. All right. Earlier, the probability is always higher. But even if you get the college of your choice, give yourself sufficient time for you to get the loan approval. Now, what if I have not got the college of your choice? If you have not got college of your choice, then you cannot and should not book it so short. Give yourself a little more time so that you have sufficient, but don't delay it too much too, because the closer it is to the opening of the semester, the higher the probability of visa being rejected. The earlier it is, the higher the probability of you getting the visa. And that's why the best case scenario, March itself, if not April, if not May, if not June, if not July. So I'm sure you understand the logic there. And what if we get slots after two months of OFC appointments and no, I don't think you need to see. OFC is where you basically get all the biometrics done, and there's no way your biometric is going to change in that duration. So don't worry about that. All right, guys, thank you so much. And as I keep saying, critical phase for all of you. Keep fighting, but take a prudent decision. Don't take a romantic decision. My friend is going, so let me go. You need to be selfish. You will always make a new set of friends. Be a little selfish in that. But having said that, please don't give too much weightage for the brand of the college. For example, an IIT in Bihar might not be as valuable as an average college in Bengaluru. Understand that. The same philosophy exists everywhere. So the choice of college should be number one, only from one perspective, internship. Why am I not talking about placements? Because internship is the way to the placements. So location and internship opportunities. And second, something that doesn't put you under too much pressure. You should know what battle you can fight, what maybe you cannot. And no, this is not the stage of life, and surely a foreign country is not a location where you can experiment and get to know whether you can fight that battle. Because the risks are going to be too heavy. So be a little conservative if you can be, all right? Never underestimate the competition or the academic rigor. As I was talking about one of my students who is a topper from one of the institutions here, went to a mediocre level college, but a decently good college, Sunny Albany, and is struggling to get a 3 GPA, MS in computer science. All right, so don't underestimate the competition that is there. It can be quite phenomenal in that. Hello. Okay, any other?
Yes, I got you, sir.
All right, somewhere something is. Just give me 1 minute, please. I don't know whether I did something stupid. Okay, let me take this question. Right now, we have heard I have booked a visa slot for October 24. I can't do this in the country. You wanted me to submit. I've already booked a visa, and now I'm planning to reissue. He told me that we can start it. Or LKS, you will have to speak to Rajiv to help him out with what exactly is the scenario here. If you said that we get visa in March, that does it mean that 5-year validity of student visa ends similarly by March, or it will end by August? Sweetheart, now you're worried about 5 years. Believe me, they give more duration than what is really necessary. So don't worry too much about that part. because the whole thing that you need to understand is your OPT period is for 3 years. It starts from 3 years. So it will, once you finish your master's, depending on the day your master's is finishing, your OPT period starts. Now, there are people whose masters will finish in 9 months. There are people whose masters will finish in 12 months. So it's 3 years from them. So I don't think you need to worry about that part. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you so much. As I said, I will continue with the series of sessions from probably every week now. Do make it a point to join. You have doubts, let's discuss. At the same time, my responsibility to keep you updated on any development that might be happening, because you should be on the top of things. Guys, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, sweethearts.
Thank you.